Sarah thought she knew what heartbreak felt like until the night her boyfriend hid her like a dirty secret at the most important party of her life, only for a powerful CEO to find her in that darkened room and whisper words that would change everything. I've been searching for you. If you love stories about second chances and powerful romance, smash that subscribe button right now because this one will keep you on the edge of your seat. The crystal chandeliers of the Meridian Hotel ballroom cast dancing lights across hundreds of guests in designer suits and evening gowns. Sarah stood near the entrance in her simple black dress, clutching a small purse while her boyfriend Marcus adjusted his tie for the third time. He worked in the marketing department of Chin Industries, and tonight's corporate gala was his chance to network with the executives he desperately wanted to impress. "Stay close, but not too close," Marcus muttered without looking at her. "And please don't embarrass me tonight." Sarah's stomach twisted. What's that supposed to mean? Just let me handle the conversations, okay? These people are important. He finally glanced at her, his eyes scanning her outfit with barely concealed disappointment. "You look fine. Just smile if anyone talks to you." Before Sarah could respond, Marcus spotted a group of his colleagues near the bar and immediately started walking toward them. She followed a few steps behind, feeling smaller with each stride. The men were laughing loudly, holding glasses of expensive whiskey, their voices booming across the elegant space. "Marcus, about time you showed up." One of them clapped him on the shoulder. "We were just talking about the Peterson account. You really crushed that presentation." Marcus grinned, soaking in the praise. Sarah stood slightly behind him, waiting for an introduction that never came. The men continued their conversation, talking over each other about quarterly projections and client acquisitions. She might as well have been invisible. "Who's this?" one of the younger men finally asked, nodding towards Sarah with mild curiosity. Marcus's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "Oh, just a friend." "Sarah, why don't you grab us some drinks?" "I'll take a scotch." The dismissal stung worse than a slap. Sarah opened her mouth to protest, but caught the warning look in Marcus's eyes. She turned toward the bar, her face burning with humiliation. Behind her, she heard one of the men laugh and say something she couldn't quite make out, followed by Marcus's forced chuckle. She was retrieving 2 glasses when Marcus appeared at her elbow, his fingers gripping her arm with uncomfortable pressure. "Change of plans. Come with me." "Where are we going?" "Just move." He guided her away from the main ballroom, his smile plastered on for anyone watching, but his grip remained firm. They walked down a hallway decorated with modern art pieces, past the coat check, past the restrooms, until they reached a small private lounge clearly meant for overflow guests or staff breaks. Marcus pushed open the door and practically shoved her inside. The room was dimly lit, furnished with a velvet couch and a few chairs. A small window overlooked the city lights below. Sarah stumbled slightly, catching herself on the armrest. "Marcus, what the hell? Look, I need you to stay here for a bit." He was already backing toward the door, checking his phone. "Some senior executives just arrived, and I need to make a good impression. You being there is just going to complicate things." "Complicate things? I'm your girlfriend. And right now I need to focus on my career, not babysit you through a corporate event." His voice had that edge she'd heard too many times lately, the one that made her feel like she was being unreasonable for having basic expectations. "Just wait here. I'll come get you when it's time to leave." "You're hiding me." "I'm being strategic." "There's a difference." He pulled the door open, letting in a slice of light from the hallway. "Don't make this difficult, Sarah. Just give me an hour." Before she could argue further, he was gone. The door clicked shut, leaving her alone in the semi-darkness. She sank onto the couch, her hands trembling. This wasn't the first time Marcus had made her feel small, but tonight felt different. Tonight he'd literally hidden her away like she was something shameful. 20 minutes crawled by. Sarah considered leaving the room, walking right out of the hotel, and never looking back. But she'd come with Marcus, didn't have money for a cab, and some pathetic part of her still hoped he'd come back apologetic, realizing how badly he'd treated her. The door opened suddenly. Sarah looked up, expecting Marcus, but instead found herself staring at a man in an impeccably tailored charcoal suit. He was tall, probably in his mid-30s, with dark hair swept back and eyes that seemed to assess everything in a single glance. There was an air of authority about him that made her sit up straighter automatically. "I'm sorry, I didn't realize this room was occupied," he said, his voice smooth and measured. Then his eyes narrowed slightly as if recognizing something. "Have we met before?" "I don't think so," Sarah managed, feeling suddenly self-conscious about her tear-streaked makeup. He stepped fully into the room, letting the door close behind him. "You seem upset. Is everything all right?" "I'm fine. Just needed some air." The lie sounded weak even to her own ears. The man studied her for a long moment, then crossed to the window. "The party getting to be too much? I find these events exhausting myself. Everyone performing, trying to impress everyone else." He turned to face her. "I'm Alexander Chin." Sarah's breath caught. Alexander Chin, the CEO of Chin Industries. The man whose company employed Marcus, whose name was on the building, whose face she'd seen in business magazines. And he was standing in this small room with her, talking to her like she was worth his time. "I'm Sarah," she said quietly. "Sarah." He repeated her name like he was testing how it felt. "I've been searching for you." Her heart skipped. "What?" "At the party earlier. I saw you come in and I wanted to introduce myself, but then you disappeared." He moved closer, his expression genuinely curious. "Why are you hiding in here instead of enjoying the gala?" The question unlocked something in her. Maybe it was his directness, or the way he looked at her like she mattered, but Sarah found herself answering honestly. "My boyfriend thought it would be better if I stayed out of sight. He's trying to network, and apparently I'm a distraction." Alexander's expression darkened. "He told you that?" "More or less." Sarah stood, suddenly feeling ridiculous for admitting this to a stranger, especially one who could fire Marcus with a single word. "I should probably go find him actually." "Wait." Alexander's voice stopped her. "Which department does your boyfriend work in?" "Marketing." "Marcus Reeves." "Marcus Reeves." Alexander pulled out his phone, typed something quickly, then looked back at her. "The one who just posted a photo on the company's social channel with the caption, 'Living my best life with the team'?" He turned the phone screen toward her. Sarah's stomach dropped. There was Marcus in the photo, surrounded by colleagues, all holding drinks and grinning at the camera. Posted 7 minutes ago. While she'd been locked in this room, he'd been taking group photos, not even thinking about her. "I'm sorry," Alexander said, and he genuinely sounded it. "You deserve better than someone who hides you away." Sarah felt tears prickling her eyes again. "You don't even know me. I know that anyone who makes someone feel like they need to hide isn't worth your time." He pocketed his phone. "How long has he been treating you this way?" The question was too perceptive, too close to thoughts she'd been avoiding for months. "It wasn't always like this. He used to be different. People show you who they are eventually. The question is whether you're willing to see it." Alexander gestured to the couch. "If you want to talk, I have time. If you want me to leave, I will. But I don't think you should be alone right now." Sarah surprised herself by sitting back down. There was something about Alexander that felt safe, despite his obvious power and status. Or maybe because of it. He sat in one of the chairs across from her, leaving appropriate space, his posture open and attentive. "How did you end up with someone like Marcus Reeves?" he asked. "We met at a coffee shop about a year ago. He was charming, confident. He made me feel special." Sarah twisted her hands in her lap. "But lately it's like I can't do anything right. My job isn't impressive enough, my clothes aren't expensive enough, my opinions aren't valid enough. Tonight was just the culmination of everything." "What do you do for work?" "I'm a teacher. 3rd grade." She waited for the dismissal that usually came when she told people at events like this what she did. Instead, Alexander smiled. "My sister's a teacher. She says it's the most important and underappreciated job in the world." I'm inclined to agree. The simple validation made Sarah's throat tight. When was the last time Marcus had said anything positive about her career? He usually introduced her as someone between opportunities, even though she loved her job. "Can I ask you something?" Alexander leaned forward slightly. "Why did you come tonight if you knew he'd treat you this way?" "I thought maybe if I showed support, if I proved I could fit into his world, he'd stop being so critical. Stop acting like I'm not good enough." "Sarah, you're trying to shrink yourself to fit someone else's narrow definition of acceptable." That's not love. That's control. The words hit hard because they were true. She'd been making herself smaller and smaller, hoping Marcus would finally be satisfied, but satisfaction was a moving target. There was always something else wrong, something else she needed to change. He's going to be angry that I'm talking to you, she said quietly. Let me worry about Marcus Reeves. There was steel in Alexander's voice now. Right now I'm more concerned about you. When are you planning to leave? He drove us here. I'm kind of stuck until he's ready to go. Alexander pulled out his phone again. I'll have my driver take you home whenever you'd like. You don't need to wait for him. I can't just leave. Why not? Sarah didn't have a good answer. Fear of Marcus's reaction? Habit of accommodating him? The sunk cost of a year-long relationship? All of those reasons felt hollow when spoken aloud to someone looking at her with genuine concern. Before she could respond, the door burst open. Marcus stood in the doorway, his face flushed with anger and alcohol. His eyes darted between Sarah and Alexander, his expression morphing from confusion to fury. What the hell is going on here? Marcus demanded. Alexander stood slowly, his movements controlled and deliberate. Mr. Reeves. I was just having a conversation with Sarah. She seemed distressed. Distressed? Sarah, what did you tell him? Marcus's attention swung to her like a weapon. I didn't tell him anything important, Sarah said, standing as well. Her legs felt shaky. Mr. Chin, I apologize if my girlfriend bothered you. Marcus's tone shifted to something obsequious when addressing Alexander, though his eyes remained hard. She's not used to these kinds of events. Gets overwhelmed easily. She seems perfectly composed to me, Alexander said coolly. Because in a room full of people performing and pretending, you are genuine. Because you're clearly intelligent and kind, despite being with someone who didn't appreciate either quality. And because I saw you walk into that ballroom tonight and haven't been able to stop thinking about you since. His smile was slightly self-deprecating. Is that honest enough? Very honest, she managed. They walked together through the hallways back toward the main entrance. The party was still in full swing, music and laughter spilling from the ballroom. Sarah caught a glimpse of Marcus through the doorway, surrounded by colleagues, gesturing animatedly. He didn't look like someone whose girlfriend had just walked out on him. He looked like someone relieved to be free of an inconvenience. The realization settled in her chest like ice and fire simultaneously. He really had seen her as a burden. All those months of trying to be better, trying to be enough, and he'd never valued her at all. Your car is here, Alexander said as they reached the entrance. A sleek black sedan waited at the curb. Thank you again. For everything. Call me, he said. Even if it's just to talk. You shouldn't have to process this alone. Sarah nodded, not trusting her voice, and climbed into the car. As it pulled away from the hotel, she looked back to see Alexander still standing there, watching to make sure she left safely. When had Marcus ever done something like that? Her phone buzzed repeatedly during the drive home. Text after text from Marcus. You made me look like an idiot. You embarrassed me in front of my boss. We need to talk now. Don't ignore me, Sarah. This is ridiculous. You're being dramatic. She turned off her phone and watched the city lights blur past her window. Tomorrow she'd have to deal with the fallout. Tomorrow she'd have to figure out how to extract herself from a relationship that had slowly poisoned her self-worth. Tomorrow she'd have to be strong. Tonight, she just let herself feel everything. The humiliation of being hidden away. The validation of Alexander treating her like she mattered. The fear of what came next. The tiny spark of hope that maybe, just maybe, she deserved better than she'd been accepting. The car pulled up to her apartment building. It was a modest complex, nothing fancy, but it was hers. Sarah thanked the driver and headed inside, her heels clicking on the tile floor. She lived on the third floor, and by the time she reached her door, exhaustion had settled into her bones. Her roommate Jenna was curled up on the couch watching Netflix. She took one look at Sarah's face and hit pause. What happened? Sarah kicked off her heels and collapsed onto the couch. I think I just broke up with Marcus. Oh, thank God. Jenna sat up. I've been waiting for you to dump that asshole for 6 months. You could have said something. Would you have listened? Jenna's expression was sympathetic but honest. Probably not, Sarah admitted. She pulled out Alexander's business card, staring at the handwritten number on the back. Something else happened too. She told Jenna everything, from being hidden in the lounge to Alexander finding her, their conversation, Marcus's angry confrontation, and the ride home. Jenna listened with increasingly wide eyes. Wait. The CEO? The actual CEO of the entire company? He gave you his personal number. Yes. And he told you he hasn't stopped thinking about you? Yes. Sarah, this is insane. This is like a movie. Jenna grabbed the business card. Are you going to call him? I don't know. It feels too fast. I just ended things with Marcus. And there's the whole power dynamic issue. He's Marcus's boss. Marcus, I blocked his number after about 30 text messages. Good. That's healthy boundary setting. There was a pause. Listen, I know this might be too soon, but I meant what I said about coffee. If you'd like some company today, I'm available. No pressure, no expectations. Just two people talking. Sarah walked to her window, looking out at the sunny Saturday. She could stay home, hide away, process everything alone. Or she could take a risk. There's a coffee shop 2 blocks from my apartment, she heard herself say. Bennett's Coffee House. Do you know it? I'll find it. What time? 2 o'clock. I'll be there. She could hear the smile in his voice. Thank you for saying yes. After he hung up, Sarah stared at her phone in disbelief. She had a coffee date with Alexander Chin. In 6 hours. What was she thinking? She spent the next hours in a state of controlled panic, changing outfits 4 times before settling on jeans and a soft blue sweater that Jenna had always said brought out her eyes. She redid her makeup twice, aiming for natural but polished. This wasn't a date, she reminded herself. This was just coffee with someone who'd been kind to her. Someone who happened to be brilliant and powerful and had said he hadn't stopped thinking about her. Not a date. Right. Sarah arrived at Bennett's Coffee House 15 minutes early, her stomach a knot of nerves. She ordered a latte and claimed a corner table, positioning herself where she could see the door. The coffee shop was busy with Saturday afternoon traffic, students on laptops and couples sharing pastries. At exactly 2 o'clock, Alexander walked through the door. He was dressed casually in dark jeans and a gray Henley, somehow looking both approachable and incredibly attractive. His eyes scanned the room until they found her, and his face lit up with a genuine smile. Hi, he said, sliding into the seat across from her. Thank you for meeting me. Thank you for the ride last night. And for calling to check on me. Basic human decency shouldn't require thanks, but you're welcome. He flagged down a barista and ordered an Americano. How are you really doing? Last night was intense. Honestly, I'm still processing. Part of me keeps waiting for Marcus to appear and yell at me. Part of me can't believe I actually ended things. Do you regret it? No, she said firmly. Even if I end up alone, it's better than being with someone who makes me feel worthless. You won't end up alone. Alexander's gaze was steady. Someone like you? You won't be single long. Someone like me? Smart. Kind. Brave enough to walk away from something toxic even when it's scary. His Americano arrived, and he took a sip. Tell me about your life. Your real life, not the version Marcus wanted you to present. So she did. Sarah found herself talking about her students, the funny things they said, the challenges of teaching, her dreams of maybe becoming a principal someday. She told him about her family, her hobbies, the books she loved. And Alexander listened with complete attention, asking thoughtful questions, making her laugh with his observations. Your turn, she said eventually. Tell me about being a CEO. What's that like? Exhausting. Rewarding. Lonely sometimes. He traced the rim of his cup. Everyone wants something from you. Access, favors, approval. It's hard to know who's genuine. Is that why you're here with me? Because I don't want anything from you. I'm here because last night I met someone real in a sea of pretense, and I want to know her better. He met her eyes. But yes, the fact that you have nothing to gain from me is refreshing. Except I kind of do, Sarah admitted. You could fire Marcus. Is that what you want? No. I mean, I don't want him to lose his job because of me. Even though he's terrible, that feels wrong. You're nicer than I would be in your position. Alexander signaled for another round of drinks. For what it's worth, Marcus's employment status will be based on his work performance, not his personal life. But if he harasses you or creates problems, I want you to tell me. I can handle Marcus. I'm sure you can. But you shouldn't have to handle him alone. They talked for 3 hours, the coffee shop crowd changing around them, until Sarah glanced at her phone and gasped. It's after 5. I've been monopolizing your entire Saturday. You've been making my Saturday significantly better than it would have been otherwise. Alexander stood, offering his hand to help her up. Walk you home. It was only 2 blocks, but Sarah found herself hoping those 2 blocks would last longer. They walked slowly, talking about everything and nothing. When they reached her building, she turned to face him. I had a really good time today. Me too. Can I see you again? Alexander asked. Is this a good idea? The power dynamic, Marcus, all of it. Sarah, I'm not going to pressure you. But I also don't want to walk away from something that could be special because it's complicated. Life is complicated. The question is whether it's worth it. She thought about the past year with Marcus, how simple it had seemed at first, and how suffocating it had become. Then she thought about today, how easy conversation had been with Alexander, how seen and valued she'd felt. Dinner tomorrow, she offered. His smile was worth every bit of risk. I'll pick you up at 7. After he left, Sarah climbed the stairs to her apartment feeling like she was floating. Jenna was home, practically vibrating with curiosity. Tell me everything. Sarah collapsed on the couch and recounted the entire afternoon. When she finished, Jenna was grinning. You're going on an actual date with Alexander Chin. This is insane. I know. What am I doing, Jenna? This is too fast, too complicated. Or maybe it's exactly right. Jenna sat beside her. You spent a year with Marcus getting worse. Why not spend some time with someone who makes you feel better? Because I'm scared. Because I don't know if I can trust my judgment. Because what if this is just a rebound and I'm making a huge mistake? Then you make a mistake. But at least it'll be your mistake, your choice. Jenna squeezed her hand. You deserve to be happy, Sarah. You deserve someone who doesn't hide you away. That night, Sarah tried to sleep, but her mind raced with possibilities and anxieties. Tomorrow she'd see Alexander again. Tomorrow she'd take another step away from her old life and toward something unknown. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. For a second her heart jumped, thinking Marcus had found a way around the block, but the message was from Alexander. Thank you for today. I haven't enjoyed an afternoon that much in years. Sleep well. Sarah read it 3 times before responding. Thank you for making me feel like I matter. See you tomorrow. His reply came immediately. You do matter. They finally settled on a deep green dress that was elegant without trying too hard. Sarah did her makeup carefully, hands steadier than she felt. By 6:30, she was ready and pacing. The buzzer rang at exactly 7. Sarah took a deep breath and headed downstairs. Alexander stood in the lobby with an umbrella, looking unfairly handsome in a dark suit. You look beautiful, he said, offering his arm. You clean up pretty well yourself. She took his arm, letting him guide her to the car waiting outside. The restaurant was intimate and upscale, the kind of place Sarah had walked past 100 times but never imagined entering. The host greeted Alexander by name and led them to a private corner table where soft music and candlelight created a bubble of privacy. I hope this isn't too much, Alexander said as they settled in. I wanted somewhere we could talk without interruption. It's perfect. Sarah looked around at the elegant space. Though I have to admit, this is a bit outside my usual dinner experience. What's your usual dinner experience? Take out on the couch while grading papers. Alexander laughed, the sound warm and genuine. We can do that too sometime if you prefer. Tonight I wanted to spoil you a little. The waiter appeared with menus and wine recommendations. Sarah felt out of her depth, but Alexander guided the conversation easily, asking her preferences and making suggestions without being overbearing. By the time their appetizers arrived, she'd relaxed enough to actually enjoy herself. Tell me something about yourself that would surprise me, Alexander said between courses. I wanted to be a lawyer once. Got accepted to law school and everything. What changed? I student taught a semester during my senior year of college and fell in love with it. The law degree felt like someone else's dream suddenly. So I switched paths completely. Sarah took a sip of wine. My parents were disappointed. They'd pictured me in a courtroom, not a classroom. But you're happy? I am. Or I was, before Marcus started making me feel like my job wasn't important enough. Alexander's expression darkened slightly. He really did a number on your self-worth. Yeah. Sarah pushed food around her plate. It was subtle at first. Little comments about how teaching would never make me rich, how maybe I should consider something more ambitious. After a while, I started believing him. For what it's worth, I think teaching is incredibly ambitious. You're shaping minds, building futures. What's more ambitious than that? The conviction in his voice made her eyes sting. Thank you for saying that. I'm not just saying it. I mean it. He reached across the table, his hand hovering near hers. Can I ask you something personal? Sure. What made you stay with Marcus as long as you did? Sarah considered the question carefully. I think I kept hoping he'd go back to being the person I first met. And I kept blaming myself for not being good enough to make him happy. If I was prettier, smarter, more successful, maybe he'd treat me better. That's not how love works, Sarah. Real love doesn't require you to shrink yourself. Alexander's hand finally covered hers. Real love makes you feel bigger, braver, more yourself. The touch sent electricity through her. Is that your experience? No, actually. I've never been in love. He said it matter-of-factly. I've had relationships, but always with people who wanted the CEO more than they wanted me. After a while, I stopped trying. So what changed? Why ask me to dinner? Because when I talked to you yesterday, you had no idea who I was at first. You weren't performing or trying to impress me. You were just honest. His thumb traced gentle circles on her hand. That's rare in my world. Precious, even. They finished dinner with shared dessert and easy conversation. Alexander told her about growing up in his family's business, the pressure of expectations, the isolation of leadership. Sarah found herself opening up about her own family dynamics, her struggles with self-doubt, her dreams for the future. When the check came, discreetly presented in a leather folder, Sarah didn't even see the amount before Alexander tucked his card inside. Thank you for dinner, she said as they left the restaurant. This was incredible. The night's not over yet. Do you trust me? That's a loaded question. Fair enough. Let me rephrase. Would you be willing to take a short drive with me? I want to show you something. Sarah knew she should probably say no, should end the evening and go home, should take things slowly. Instead, she heard herself say, okay. They drove through the rain-slicked city streets, the car's headlights cutting through the darkness. Alexander handled the vehicle with the same quiet confidence he brought to everything else. 20 minutes later, they pulled up to a modern building Sarah didn't recognize. Where are we? You'll see. Alexander came around to open her door, holding the umbrella over both of them as they hurried inside. They took an elevator to the top floor. When the doors opened, Sarah gasped. They were in what appeared to be a private rooftop conservatory, glass walls and ceiling revealing the city lights spread below them like stars. Plants hung from the ceiling and lined the walls, creating a lush oasis in the sky. This is my building, Alexander explained. I had this space designed as a refuge from everything else. Come here when I need to think or decompress. It's magical. I've never brought anyone here before. Sarah turned to look at him. Why me? Because I wanted to share something real with you. He moved closer, his eyes searching hers. Because everything about you makes me want to be more honest than I've been in years. The rain drummed softly on the glass above them. Sarah's heart was racing. They were alone in this beautiful space, the entire city spread out below, and Alexander was looking at her like she was the only thing that mattered. I should tell you something, she said quietly. I'm scared. Scared that this is too fast, that I'm rebounding, that I'll get hurt again. I'm scared too, Alexander admitted. Scared that you'll realize I'm not worth the complications I bring. Scared that you'll walk away. Scared that I'm already falling for you after 2 days, and that's completely insane. It is insane. But it's true. He touched her face gently. Tell me to stop now if you don't want this. Sarah could have stepped back. Could have said they needed more time, more distance, more clarity. Instead, she closed the space between them. Their first kiss was soft, tentative, asking permission. The second was deeper, sure, sealing something that had started the moment he'd found her in that darkened room. Alexander's arms came around her, and Sarah felt safe in a way she hadn't in longer than she could remember. When they finally pulled apart, Both breathing hard, Alexander rested his forehead against hers. "I know the timing is complicated," he murmured. "But I haven't felt this way about anyone. Ever. Me either." And it was true. What she'd felt for Marcus paled in comparison to this intensity, this certainty. What do we do now? We take it one day at a time. No pressure, no expectations. Just see where this goes. They stayed in the conservatory for hours, talking and kissing and mapping out the beginnings of something that felt too big to name. When Alexander finally drove her home, the rain had stopped and the sky was clearing, stars peeking through. "When can I see you again?" he asked at her building entrance. "How's tomorrow?" "I have meetings until 6. Dinner after." "I'd like that." He kissed her once more, soft and sweet, before letting her go. Sarah practically floated up to her apartment, where Jenna was still awake and demanding details immediately. "We kissed," Sarah admitted, and Jenna screamed loud enough that someone in the next apartment banged on the wall. "Tell me everything." Sarah shared what she could, editing the most intimate moments for privacy. By the time she finished, Jenna was grinning like a maniac. "You're falling for him." "Maybe. Is that crazy?" "Probably. But who cares? After Marcus, you deserve some crazy happiness." Sarah fell into bed that night with Alexander's texts already waiting. Simple things, sweet things, messages that made her smile into her pillow. "Thank you for tonight. You're incredible. Sleep well. Dream of kissing me in secret gardens. I can't wait to see you tomorrow." She fell asleep faster than she had in months, feeling lighter and more hopeful than she'd felt in a year. Whatever happened next, whatever complications arose, tonight had been perfect. And Sarah was finally starting to believe she deserved perfect. Monday morning arrived with harsh reality. Sarah was preparing for work when her phone rang with an unknown number. Against her better judgment, she answered. "We need to talk." Marcus's voice was cold, controlled. "I'm outside your building." Sarah's stomach dropped. "How did you get a new number? Does it matter?" "Come down. 5 minutes." "No. I told you we're done." "Sarah, I'm not asking. You owe me a conversation after the stunt you pulled Friday night." "I don't owe you anything." "Fine. Then I'll come up and we can have this conversation in front of your roommate." "Your choice." Sarah's hands trembled. She didn't want him anywhere near her apartment, near Jenna. "Give me 10 minutes. She hung up and quickly texted Alexander, "Marcus is here. Outside my building. Says we need to talk." His response came immediately. "Do not meet him alone. I'm sending security." 20 minutes. But Sarah knew Marcus. If she didn't go down, he'd make a scene. She grabbed her keys and headed downstairs, her phone clutched tightly. Marcus was leaning against a car she didn't recognize, arms crossed. He'd always been handsome in a conventional way, but now she saw the hardness in his expression, the entitlement in his posture. Finally, he said as she approached. "You've been avoiding me. I blocked you." "That's not avoidance, that's a clear message." "About that." Marcus pushed off the car. "You had no right to humiliate me in front of my boss. Do you have any idea what you've done to my career?" "I had a conversation with someone at a party. That's all. That's all." His laugh was bitter. "You disappeared with the CEO for an hour. Then you've been seeing him all weekend. Don't think I don't know." Sarah's blood ran cold. "Have you been following me?" "I have friends who keep me informed." "Did you really think you could parade around with Alexander Chin and nobody would notice?" Marcus stepped closer, his voice dropping. "You're making me look like a fool. This isn't about you. Everything about this is about me. You're my girlfriend. Ex-girlfriend. We're over, Marcus. We're over when I say we're over." His hand shot out, gripping her wrist. "You don't get to make that decision alone. Let go of me." Sarah tried to pull away, but his grip tightened. "Not until you listen. You're going to stop seeing Chin. You're going to tell people it was a misunderstanding. And you're going to apologize for embarrassing me. I'm not doing any of that." Marcus's face twisted with rage. "You stupid little teacher. Do you really think someone like Alexander Chin wants you? You're a novelty, a rebound. He'll get bored and move on, and then where will you be?" The words hit their mark because they echoed Sarah's own fears. But before she could respond, a black SUV pulled up sharply to the curb. 2 men in suits emerged, followed by Alexander. "Mr. Reeves, I suggest you remove your hand from Sarah immediately." Alexander's voice was arctic. Marcus dropped her wrist like it burned. Mr. Chin, this is a private conversation, which appeared to involve physical restraint. That ends now. Alexander moved to Sarah's side, his presence solid and protective. Sarah, are you all right? She nodded, rubbing her wrist where Marcus had gripped it. You need to leave, Mr. Reeves, Alexander continued. If you contact Sarah again, if you come near her building again, I will ensure appropriate legal action is taken. You can't tell me what to do in my personal life. Actually, I can tell you that harassment has consequences. And I can certainly discuss with HR whether your behavior reflects the values Chin Industries expects from its employees. Alexander's tone was measured but deadly serious. Your choice. Walk away now or force me to take official action. Marcus looked between them, his jaw working. Sarah could see him calculating, weighing his options. Finally, he turned to her. This isn't over, Sarah. You'll regret this. The only thing I regret is not ending things sooner. Her voice was steadier than she felt. Marcus shot Alexander one last venomous look before getting in his car and driving away. The moment he was gone, Sarah's knees buckled slightly. Alexander caught her, his arm supporting her weight. I've got you, he murmured. You're safe. The security team swept the area quickly, then gave Alexander a subtle nod before returning to their vehicle. Alexander guided Sarah to a nearby bench, sitting beside her while she tried to stop shaking. I'm sorry, she managed. I should have waited for you. Don't apologize. This isn't your fault. His hand found hers, careful of her sore wrist. Did he hurt you? Just scared me. He's never been physical before. That's escalation. We need to take this seriously. Alexander pulled out his phone. I'm having my legal team draft a restraining order. And I'm notifying building security at your apartment and your school. That feels extreme. Sarah, he threatened you. He physically grabbed you. That's not extreme, it's necessary. His eyes were fierce but concerned. I will not let him hurt you. The conviction in his voice made her throat tight. You barely know me. Why are you doing all this? Because I care about you. Because you deserve to be protected. Because the thought of him touching you makes me want to destroy his entire world. Alexander took a breath, visibly controlling himself. Sorry, that was intense. No, it was honest. I appreciate honest. They sat together while Sarah's racing heart gradually slowed. The security team remained at a discreet distance, watching the street. Eventually, Alexander checked his watch. I have a meeting in 30 minutes that I can't miss. But I'm not comfortable leaving you alone. Can you take the day off work? I have 23 third graders expecting me. Then let me arrange security to follow you. Just for today, until we know Marcus has backed off. Sarah wanted to protest, to say it was too much, but the memory of Marcus's grip on her wrist was too fresh. Okay, just for today. Alexander made several calls, his efficiency impressive. Within minutes, he'd arranged for a security detail to shadow Sarah at a distance, notified her school principal of a potential situation, and confirmed the legal paperwork would be ready by afternoon. I'll pick you up after school, he said. We'll deal with the legal stuff together. Then I'm taking you somewhere safe for the night. I can't just disappear from my life. Not disappear. Just be cautious until we know how Marcus will react. Alexander cupped her face gently. Please. For my peace of mind if nothing else. She agreed, though part of her felt like she was overreacting. But Marcus's words echoed in her mind. This isn't over. School was a welcome distraction. Her third graders were working on a science project about plant growth, and their enthusiasm helped push her anxiety to the background. She caught glimpses of the security team throughout the day, discreet but present, and found their presence comforting rather than invasive. During lunch, Jenna called, having heard about the morning's incident from Sarah's brief text. Are you okay? Do you need me to come there? I'm fine. Alexander handled it. It's just unsettling, you know? I didn't think Marcus would escalate like this. Men like Marcus always escalate when they lose control, Jenna said grimly. Promise me you'll be careful. I promise. Alexander's picking me up after school. Good. And Sarah? Don't feel guilty for accepting help. You're not weak for needing support right now. The words hit exactly where Sarah needed them. She'd been fighting guilt all day, feeling like she was being dramatic, making too big a deal of things. But Jenna was right. Marcus had physically restrained her, had threatened her. That wasn't nothing. The afternoon passed in a blur of spelling tests and reading time. By the time the final bell rang and her students scattered, Sarah was exhausted. She found Alexander waiting by the school entrance, looking out of place among the parent pickup line, but somehow perfectly at ease. "How was your day?" he asked, pulling her into a gentle hug. "Long. Yours?" "Endless meetings made longer by worrying about you." He guided her to his car. "The restraining order is filed. We should have it approved by tomorrow. In the meantime, I'd like you to stay at my place tonight." Sarah hesitated. "Alexander, that's moving really fast. Separate bedrooms. No pressure. I just want to know you're safe." His expression was earnest. "Please. If nothing happens and Marcus leaves you alone, great. But if he doesn't, I'll feel better knowing you're somewhere secure." She thought about her apartment, how Marcus knew exactly where she lived, how easy it would be for him to show up again. "Okay, but I need to pack some things first." They stopped by her apartment with the security team clearing each floor first. Jenna was home and immediately approved of the plan, helping Sarah pack an overnight bag. "This is the right call," Jenna said quietly while Alexander waited in the living room. "Marcus is unstable right now. Stay with Alexander until things cool down." What if I'm making everything worse by being with Alexander? Maybe if I just disappeared for a while, Marcus would move on. "Sarah, listen to me. Marcus's behavior is not your fault and not your responsibility to manage. He's showing his true colors. Don't let him make you feel guilty for moving on." Armed with Jenna's support and a packed bag, Sarah left with Alexander. His place turned out to be a penthouse in the same building where the rooftop conservatory was located. The apartment was stunning, modern and masculine, but somehow warm, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. "Guest room is down this hall," Alexander said, carrying her bag. "Private bathroom, anything you need. Make yourself at home." The guest room was larger than Sarah's entire bedroom at her apartment, decorated in soothing grays and blues. Alexander set her bag down and turned to face her. "I know this is a lot. And I know we've only known each other a few days. But I meant what I said. I care about you and I want you safe." Sarah moved closer, wrapping her arms around him. He held her tightly, and she felt some of the day's tension finally release. "Thank you," she whispered against his chest. "For everything." They ordered dinner in, eating on the couch while rain pattered against the windows. The conversation flowed easily despite the stress of the day, jumping from favorite movies to childhood memories to dreams for the future. Sarah felt herself relaxing, the apartment's security and Alexander's presence creating a bubble of safety. "Can I ask you something?" she said as they finished eating. "Anything. Do you really think Marcus will back off? Or is this going to get worse?" Alexander was quiet for a moment. "Honestly, I think men like Marcus struggle with loss of control. The restraining order will help, and having it on record that I'm involved will make him think twice. But we need to stay vigilant. I hate that I brought this into your life. Sarah, you didn't bring anything. Marcus's choices are his own." Alexander took her hand. "And having you in my life is worth any complication." The sincerity in his eyes made her brave. She leaned in and kissed him, soft and slow. He responded carefully, one hand cupping her face, the kiss deepening but remaining gentle. When they pulled apart, Alexander's voice was rough. "If we keep doing that, I'm going to have a very hard time remembering we're taking things slow." Maybe slow is overrated. Sarah surprised herself with the boldness, but something about nearly being grabbed by Marcus had clarified things. Life was short. Fear was exhausting. And Alexander made her feel alive. "Sarah, I don't want you to feel pressured. You've had a traumatic day. I'm not feeling pressured. I'm feeling certain." She kissed him again, more confidently this time. "I want this. I want you." What followed was tender and intense, passionate but respectful. Alexander checked in constantly, making sure she was comfortable, wanted this, wasn't acting from fear or shock. And Sarah had never felt more certain of anything. This wasn't rebound or rebellion. This was choosing herself, choosing happiness, choosing someone who saw her value. Later, Wrapped in Alexander's arms in his bed rather than the guest room, Sarah felt peace settle over her. The fear about Marcus was still there, lurking at the edges, but it couldn't touch the certainty she felt about this moment, this man, this choice. "What are you thinking?" Alexander asked, his fingers tracing patterns on her shoulder. "That a week ago I was in a relationship that made me miserable, and now I'm here with you, feeling happier than I can remember. It's surreal. Good surreal or bad surreal? Terrifying and perfect surreal." She tilted her head to look at him. "Is it crazy that I'm falling for you this fast?" "If it is, we're both crazy. Because I've already fallen." He kissed her forehead. "I know it's fast. I know it's complicated. But some things are just right, timing be damned." They fell asleep tangled together, Sarah feeling safer than she had in months. The next morning brought new challenges. Sarah woke to her phone buzzing with texts from unknown numbers, all from Marcus using different phones or apps. "You're making a mistake. He doesn't really want you. When this falls apart, don't come crying to me. I'll always know where to find you." That last message made her blood run cold. Alexander read over her shoulder, his expression darkening. "That's a direct threat. I'm sending these to our legal team immediately." He made the call while Sarah showered, feeling violated by Marcus's persistence. By the time she emerged, Alexander had news. "The restraining order is approved. If he contacts you again, he'll face legal consequences. I've also spoken with Chin Industries HR. Marcus is being placed on administrative leave pending investigation into his conduct." Won't that just make him angrier? Possibly. But it also sends a message that his behavior has consequences. Alexander pulled her close. "We're not letting him control your life through fear." The week that followed was tense but manageable. Marcus continued trying to contact Sarah through various means, each attempt documented and reported. The security team remained vigilant. Sarah moved between teaching, Alexander's apartment, and gradually reclaiming her sense of normalcy. Alexander was patient and attentive, giving her space when she needed it and support when she didn't. They fell into an easy rhythm, cooking together, talking for hours, building something real despite the unusual circumstances of their beginning. Friday night, exactly 1 week after the party that changed everything, Alexander took Sarah back to the rooftop conservatory. The city lights sparkled below them, and the plants created a lush sanctuary. "I wanted to bring you back here," he said, pulling her close. "Where we had our first kiss. Because I want to ask you something." Sarah's heart raced. "Okay. This week has been intense and complicated. We've dealt with your ex, legal issues, security concerns. Not exactly a normal start to a relationship." He took her hands. "But through all of it, I've been more certain every day that you're what I've been looking for. So I'm asking, officially, will you be with me? Not hiding, not uncertain, but really together." Tears pricked Sarah's eyes. A week ago, she'd been hidden in a back room, ashamed and diminished. Now she stood in a garden in the sky with a man who saw her worth, who protected her, who wanted to claim her openly. "Yes," she said without hesitation. "Absolutely yes." Alexander kissed her deeply, and Sarah felt the last pieces of her old life falling away. This was her new beginning. This was choosing herself, choosing love, choosing to be seen. "I have one more thing," Alexander said, pulling back slightly. "I know you love teaching, but I also know you mentioned wanting to be a principal someday. I have connections with the board of several private schools. If you're interested, I could facilitate some introductions. You do that for me? Sarah, I'd do anything for you. Your dreams matter. Your career matters. You matter." He tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. "I'm not trying to control or change you. I just want to help you reach your potential." The contrast with Marcus was staggering. Where Marcus had diminished her ambitions, Alexander wanted to elevate them. Where Marcus had hidden her, Alexander wanted to showcase her. "Thank you," she managed through tears. "For seeing me. For believing in me. Always." They stayed in the conservatory until late, making plans and promises. The future felt bright and possible in a way it hadn't in years. Yes, there were still complications. Marcus hadn't completely disappeared, though the restraining order had made him more cautious. Sarah's life had been turned upside down in a week. But standing there with Alexander, looking out at the city that had witnessed both her lowest moment and her transformation, Sarah felt nothing but gratitude. She'd been hidden at a party, treated like a secret to be ashamed of. But in that darkness, she'd been found. Not just by Alexander, but by herself. She'd found her voice, her strength, her worth. And that was worth every complication, every fear, every uncertain moment. "What are you smiling about?" Alexander asked. "I'm thinking about that first night. When you walked into that room and said you'd been searching for me." "I had been. I just didn't know it until I saw you." "Well, you found me. And I found myself." Sarah turned in his arms to face the city. "Thank you for that. For helping me see what I deserve. You deserve everything, Sarah. And I intend to spend a very long time proving that to you." Below them, the city pulsed with life and possibility. Somewhere out there, Marcus was dealing with the consequences of his choices. But up here, in this garden sanctuary, Sarah was choosing her future. And it was bright. "I love you," she said, the words feeling right and true. "I love you too," Alexander replied, holding her tighter. "I've got you. Always." And standing there, no longer hidden but celebrated, no longer diminished but elevated, Sarah believed him. This was just the beginning of her story. The chapter where she stopped shrinking and started soaring. The chapter where she found not just love, but herself. And it all started the night her boyfriend hid her at a party, only for a CEO to find her and change everything. The night she stopped being invisible and started being seen. If you loved Sarah and Alexander's story, smash that like button and subscribe for more incredible romance stories. Drop a comment below telling me what you think happens next. Does Marcus try one more time? Do Sarah and Alexander face new challenges? Let me know what you want to see, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.